How's it going, everybody? I am Sean Finnegan, and I'm up in Seattle covering PAX West 2016 for IGN. And we got to go to Microsoft's Redmond campus and check out the ID at Xbox event, where they're showing off a bunch of really cool indie games, as well as Halo 5 Forge on PC, which is what we're looking at here. They gave a neat little presentation, and I got to record some direct feed. But unfortunately, I don't have Tom from 343's presentation, so I'm going to have to paraphrase what he told me about this very robust tool for you guys here. Basically, this is coming out next week, and it's going to give community members and people who are really into Halo 5 the ability to manipulate and create maps with this extremely robust tool. I'm sure people who are familiar with the Forge tool from Halo 3 understand the power that this tool actually gives, but what they're really introducing with this iteration on PC is just all sorts of different customization and different things that you can introduce to the game that is really just very cool. So I'm going to kind of go over that stuff here with you. So here we are inside, and immediately you can see like the space is kind of, or the UI rather, is kind of dev spacey, where you have a lot of controls over the camera and sort of drop down and scalable menus all over the place that allow you to manipulate different elements of the map, as well as objects in the map and introducing new objects into the map. You can see as Tom sort of mouses around here that everything is like selectable and highlightable, and everything that you can do that to is basically adjustable in any way possible. So you can move objects up and around the map or into different spaces and lock them into each other. And because this is available on PC, now you can actually toggle these values. Instead of using the sliders, you can actually type them in and stuff, which is really cool. You can see here he's kind of talking, or he's demonstrating that right here, the bottom x-axis. You can actually just type in a value there, and it's going to move this piece ever so slightly up, which is pretty cool. You can use the controller as well. This is something that they had set up in the room there, where he was using the mouse and keyboard to manipulate a lot of these elements, but just as easily he could drop that down, pick up the controller, and so as soon as he started moving the sticks and pressing the buttons, the menus and stuff automatically changed over to the controls that you would see on your controller. So for some people, they're going to want to use mouse and keyboard, while other people may be more comfortable on the controller. At this part of the presentation, he's demonstrating that you can dial in different colors for basically any object in any sort of area on the map, and kind of really customize the look of your map so that it matches whatever you're really going for. Something that he pointed out was that a lot of Halo community members were not impressed with how many Covenant-style maps there were in the release of Halo 5. And one of the things that the Forge allows people to do is kind of customize the color and the tool set, or using the tool set to customize the color as well as the objects in order to really create these very detailed Covenant-style maps or Forerunner maps that we really haven't seen too much in Halo 5. So I thought that was really cool. He's also talking here about scripting. Now, I don't really know what scripting is when it comes to game development, but apparently it allows you to kind of set up some more complex events for these, and or set up more complex behaviors and other such things for the particular things that you put in the map. And that's just something that's new to the PC version that you didn't have before in the Forge version that's on console. That's what he just demonstrated right here. Here he's showing that you can actually change the axis just by toggling it really quick for any of the objects. And he's going to go ahead and demonstrate this here, but like you can have it, you can basically just adjust it using these little rings, and that gives you what he was saying to me was it gives you a fine degree of control over sort of all of the elements in the map, so that you can really kind of get the exact angles right, so that when you're playing the map, it feels and acts as appropriately the way you had it in your head. One of the cool things that he described here was like people who custom create structures. This is something else that is really cool, is that now these custom structures can be saved, bookmarked, shared, and sort of like implemented across games. So let's say you have a friend who's created this really cool structure, and you're like, wow, this structure is really interesting, I want to put it in my map. That can be shared directly to you. It can also be bookmarked and shared on the internet, where you can kind of go search through these these objects and really kind of like scale them to your size and kind of make them part of the map in a way that you think is really interesting. This is cool because like me personally, I'm not very creative when it comes to Forge, but I recognize a good structure when I see one, and it's really cool to be able to like go grab that structure from someone else or find one on the internet that I think works really well for my map, immediately import it into my game and kind of stick it in there and manipulate it and add things to it that may not have been inherent to that person's design, whoever designed the object. One of the things Tom is demonstrating right here is that a lot of people wanted more Covenant stuff, so they added a whole slew of objects and things from Halo that are very Covenant-esque. This is like one of the little drop pods or whatever that elites and grunts pop out of. And you can kind of do, again, using the little adjustable widgets and stuff, you can kind of just customize it to move and be placed exactly the way that you want, and that's pretty cool. So we're seeing him adjust sort of the angles and all that stuff and the objects individually here, and that's pretty interesting. As you can see here, he just popped into first-person mode really easily with the toggle, with the tilde key, which is the console key. You can just jump in and out of this, so at any point you can kind of like test the stuff that you're designing and figure out if it's really working as you intended. So here, Tom is showing us some of the things that you can introduce and to accent your maps and the things you're designing in Forge. Like he pointed out, a lot of people wanted more Covenant stuff. This is a Phantom. It's basically a Covenant dropshift, and you're able to customize it basically to your heart's intent. There's all sorts of different colors and accents. You can sort of place them and scale them anywhere in the map. And like what he was telling us is like the philosophy at 343 as far as his team goes when it comes to the Forge is like they want to see if you can break the engine, and they want to see if you can really manipulate things in ways that they weren't intended to be in the game, so that it's really fun and interesting and kind of wacky and sort of off the wall. And you can see a lot of this type of stuff in the maps that the community people are actually designing, because some of them are just wildly creative and stuff. Going along with the Covenant theme, this is another one of the drop pods, and there's all sorts of different types of drop pods that are open, pods that are smaller, pods that are like, half destroyed and stuff like that. And he was kind of showing me different types of these things as we were going through this, and that's what we're looking at here. Another thing he wanted to point out was that, and here's yet another pod after it's landed and the doors are kind of like opened or in the process of opening. And all of this stuff is scalable and placeable, right? So at any point you can kind of put all of these elements where you want and figure out exactly how they work together to make something play really well. At this point, Tom is showing me some of the different monitor screens that they worked on that are Covenant style, and these are cool because they really accent. It's difficult to see on this map, and he pointed that out to me, but like on darker maps where the maps tend to be a little bit more blues and grays and blacks, these monitors really pop, and you can customize every little part of the monitor, which is showing me right here. And so that you can really make them look and feel exactly the way you intended, and that just helps with the realism of the maps. And as you can see on this drop-down menu under the Covenant, there's so many different options for you to pull from. Tom's also pointing out to me at this point that there's wacky stuff that you can do, like this is a Prophet hologram that you can put into your game, and he makes lots of noise, and he talks a lot, and that's cool. These are these like statuesque grunts that they've implemented the game. There's like there's a bunch of different creatures that I don't think he actually shows you the drop-down menu for this, but he says that there's all sorts of creatures from the Halo universe in the game, not just these grunts, but there's statue versions of them. You can use them to line or sort of like, basically be accent pieces in the map to sort of add realism and increase the immersion of the maps, to really give the player the sense of the feeling that they're playing in a Covenant world. Also, grunts are hilarious, and to see one that big, they're always really funny. And in this last part, one of the things that he was saying is new to the Halo 5 Forge mechanism on PC is the ability to not just toggle the colors, but to also toggle the material. So if you zoom in really closely here, you can actually change the material's feeling from metallic to more like sandstone or stone or whatever, so that it actually feels a little bit more in line with what the Covenant art style is, or like technical style. And then again, that just adds to more realism and a little bit more finely tuned detail. Like I said, this tool is very robust. It was robust when they introduced it into Halo 5. on Xbox, and really it's come a long way for PC. So that about wraps it up. I'm Sean Finnegan. I'm up here at PAX covering all sorts of games all weekend. Hopefully you enjoyed this. For everything else Halo, you are already in the right place on IGN.